Hello, my name is Greg Madison, and this is The Living Process. Welcome back. In this episode, my guest is Annat Gal On from Israel, and Annat has very interesting things that she has developed in reference to focusing. And one of the main things that she talks about is what she calls home focusing, which is bringing focusing into our most important, significant relationships, partners, children, siblings. She talks about the special quality of sibling relationships and how it serves as a kind of a template for many different forms of relationship, which I thought was very interesting. She also talks about criticism and its link to trauma, which is, again, a very interesting insight. She describes focusing mainly in terms of the qualities of the environment that we bring as a listener or as a person in relationship. We also touch upon the importance of working with the system, that each person is a system, and then we also live within systems, including the larger nation state as a system. And we touch at the very end of the conversation on what's happening in the area of the world that she lives in. I found it a very interesting conversation, and I think you can hear that there's a lot more detail that we weren't able to cover. So I hope that you enjoy this conversation with Annat Gal On and myself and home focusing. Hello, welcome back to The Living Process. And this episode, I have guest Annat Gal On. I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah, that's okay.
Close enough. So welcome. It's lovely to have you as a guest. And I've been looking through your website, and there's a lot of very interesting stuff there.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, really. I'm honored. I really like your podcast,
Oh, thank you.
and I'm happy to be here as a part of it.
Okay, terrific. So what I normally start with, and I'd like to ask you, is just how did you get into focusing?
Um, well, I'm not sure how interesting this sort of story is, besides the fact that it has something to do with my children, meaning it has something to do with home focusing. But
Okay.
I want to tell you first about my search for something that I found later in focusing. I'm not a therapist, never was. I was a lawyer, I was a journalist, I was all kind of stuff, yeah.
Oh,
But I was a client. I was in psychotherapy since I was 18.
okay.
And I think it was somewhere in my early 30s that I told my therapist that I think we've come to the end of our process because we've come to a point where words don't work anymore. Language
Hmm.
don't work anymore. It can't express what's in there. We said everything that was
Mhm.
to say.
Oh,
Um, but I still had issues, so I switched to other kind of therapy. I went to all kinds of body work, which was great because body language, as we know it, is much deeper and richer than the regular language. But I had another problem there that the therapist used to talk to my body without me in it.
hmm.
So it was like, like when you do shiatsu or any
Hmm.
other kind of body work, your consciousness is besides the whole process. So it wasn't exactly right. I was looking for something else.
Yeah.
And I first heard about focusing after my first son was born. I was in a mommy and me group with him, and I met Yarden Kerem. She's now also an Israeli coordinator, and she just told me there's a thing called focusing, and you should know it. You should look for it. Okay, I had a baby. I had other things to do. I had a job. And then when my youngest daughter was born, when she was 1 year old, she started going to a part-time daycare. And I decided that I want something for myself. No professional at all, just something for myself. And I somehow remembered what Yarden had said. And I Googled focusing, and I found Atzmaut Perstein.
Mm-hmm.
And a few days after that, I just started a focusing course without even experiencing any of it. And it was, I just got there. In the first class, I felt at home.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I felt that I found the missing link between body language and me. So that was that.
That is so interesting, the way you describe some body work that kind of leaves you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a nice way of kind of pointing to where focusing joins our different kind of modes of being in some way.
Yes, and it never takes away your responsibility or your involvement or your.
Yeah,
It's always, yeah, it's me. It's nobody does it for me or to me.
yeah, exactly. You participate fully.
Fully,
Yeah.
yes. I'm in charge.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you're in charge, but maybe.
Well, yeah, I'm like the landlord. I'm yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So for in some way you continued, and I'm curious what led you to your specific interest in home focusing.
Yeah. Yes, I continued. It was fascinating. I still didn't think I will ever do it as a profession or something, but I continued to study. In Israel, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but in Israel, there are or the world back then in 2010, around, two schools, like the Gendlin School and the Anweiser Cornell School.
Okay.
So Atzmaut was a student of Gendlin, so obviously she taught Gendlin. And I continued with Dana Genihar, which back then taught Anne Weiser Cornell. And so I found inner relationship, which was wonderful for me, and radical acceptance. And I really was connected to that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I continued to study with Israeli teachers, but also with teachers from outside of Israel, because at that time, Israel was quite a hotspot for a focusing teacher. And many teachers came to give workshops and trainings to Israeli focusers. So I had some whole body focusing with Glenn Fleisch, and Anne and Barbara came for the treasure maps workshop, and René Wechler came for children focusing. And actually, I think this was the most influential thing for me in the creation of home focusing. Because first of all, because when you talk about focusing with children, focusing is completely different. It has no, you don't ask a child to sit quietly, close his eyes, and get in for 40 minutes. It doesn't work. You just do it in the interaction. You go along, and it can be anything. It can be in words, in silence, in play. Mm-hmm. So it opened focusing for me.
Yeah.
But mainly, it changed my relationship with my children.
Mm.
Yes, and this for me it was well, ever since I became a mother, and probably even before, I wanted to be a different mother than the mother I had.
Mhm.
So suddenly it opened a possibility to be this other mother, to have another kind of relationship. I remember one evening I came back from the workshop, from Renee's workshop, and my son was about 7 or 8, and he lost his bookmarker, and it wasn't the first time. And he was crying and crying, and suddenly I could be different with him because I spent the whole day nourishing myself and being in touch with my inner child,
Yeah.
and I could just be with him. I can't remember exactly what I said. It was many years ago, but I can remember that he immediately stopped crying and he just looked at me, surprised, because I didn't say, "Oh, you lost your bookmarker again," or I don't know, why it's not a reason to cry, or nothing like that. I just said something connecting or
Mm.
empathic, or
Mhm.
and we just continued to read a book, and it was different. So it was really mind blowing for me. It was really very, very important, this thing that happened, and then I thought I want to pass it to other parents.
Mhm.
I want other parents to learn how to be differently with themselves and with their children.
Mhm.
So the first thing that happened in home focusing was actually home focusing workshop for parents, non-focusers at all, which gave some kind of a short introduction to the whole thing, to focusing and to how to be with your children. So this was the first step.
Mhm. I'm just
And yeah,
let me just interrupt for a second. It's fascinating. I don't really want to interrupt, but I want to just ask. Um, so you're working with parents that don't know focusing, and you're giving them a brief introduction to focusing, sort of
yeah.
to be able to be in touch with themselves and also be able to be sort of more empathic in some way to their children and what their children are actually experiencing.
Yes, you can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious how you did that because you're not introducing focusing, I assume, as kind of the traditional practice of kind of like a dyad or even focusing on your own. Somehow you're introducing it already in the conversation or something. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. For me, focusing is like an attitude. It's
Yeah.
something really wide.
Hmm.
So the principles just want to grab uh, uh, our ability to be with ourselves, or the fact that we are not one, that there are several things in us, and what happened when we just before we go outside, we turn inside and just acknowledge what's there.
Hmm.
Because you don't have to know focusing as a whole. I mean, afterwards, I'm teaching focusing as a whole, but it's enough to be able to connect yourself in order to connect to the other, to the child or to the spouse. It's really, and it's coming really naturally
Yeah.
somehow. It's like something that we said, oh yes, this is how it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
So So yes, I wrapped it in 4 days of workshop that just gave the essence.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I told in advance that it's not that there will be a huge change and everything will be okay, but small things like pausing before I answer or before I ask something, or being able to bring, we'll talk about that probably, curiosity to the child is already a lot.
Yeah, these kind of micro sensitivities that can be built into everyday interactions.
Yes, 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 something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious what happened next.
So what happened next is I studied family constellation, systemic constellation, which was just a perfect match with what I was already doing.
Mm.
And then 2014, I did two things. First of all, I started working with couples, which until this day is my favorite kind of work. And second, I built a home focusing basic course, which is 18 weeks, and it's about focusing as an inner relationship. It's teaching how to be in partnership, and it's about close relationship, how to bring focusing qualities or attitude
Mhm.
to our daily life, to our daily interactions and relationships with our most closest people.
I really would like to get back into that because I can feel there's a funny feeling about that.
Okay.
Um, which I don't think is unique to me. I think there's a lot of focusers that either shy away from integrating focusing into their most intimate relationships or just find it very difficult.
Yeah,
So
it is difficult.
it is difficult. So I'd really like to talk about that. But
Yeah.
I want to first go back to the family constellations. I'm curious what made you want to integrate that and what did you get from it?
Well, first of all, when I met Family Constellation, I realized that I'm already doing some of it.
Okay.
So it was already in there.
Mhm.
Uh, but maybe, do you think I should explain a little bit about what is Family Constellation before I?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Just a little introduction.
Okay, okay. So for me, Family Constellation and focusing are like siblings.
Okay.
This is my favorite relationship, by the way, siblings. I'm an only child, so
Okay.
uh, they are very much alike, and they just broadened to different directions, but they are in their basically the same. So family constellation is a phenomenological approach that you probably connect to, meaning that we explore openly and with curiosity, without knowledge, everything there is. And we say that everything belongs to the system. Everything is relevant. Every phenomenon that there is in the system is relevant. We don't dismiss anything.
Okay.
And we want to accept it, which is really like focusing. For instance, in the family, we want to say that everyone belongs, even if it was a child that wasn't born, even if it was someone who was excluded from the family because of something they did. No, they're all part of the family, and they all need recognition and to feel that they belong to the family. In family constellation, we talk about radical inclusion, which is actually radical acceptance. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. So this is one thing. Another thing that we have in family constellation is field transference. We know transference, we know counter transference, which means that we are we can sense things that don't belong to us, that are of someone who is in an interaction with us. But when we are talking about field transference, we actually acknowledge that we are a part of a system.
Mhm.
So things that live inside us, not necessarily come from our own experience, not from our childhood, but from a wider field.
Mhm.
It can be our ancestors' experience or traumas. It can be collective trauma that affects us. So we say that when we have a problem or a symptom in our life, we want to explore its place in the system and see where it came from.
Mhm.
And also something else about the field transference, it's about the work of family constellation. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's really very bizarre. Sorry. The actual work of it's a kind of it's one kind of work of family constellation, but the actual work is with the representatives,
Mhm.
okay? People that come to the session and represent parts or people in the issue holder's
Mhm.
life or family.
Mhm.
They don't know anything about the person or the story or the family, but they can sense it in their bodies.
Mhm.
And this is how the constellation is developing with the representatives.
So it's manifested by using a group of participants.
Yes, yes, a group of participants that all they have to do is body work.
Mm.
All they have to do is listen to their bodies, because once you enter the field,
Mhm.
all the relevant information is already in your body. So it's yeah, some people, it's really the sexy part of family constellation. Because oh my god, it's so my mother, oh it's so my sister, but really it's I don't know, it's some kind of magic or channeling. Bert Hellinger, the therapist that invented family constellation in the 80s in Germany, he studied also from the Zulu tribes. So it's not just our Western
Mhm.
neat approach, it's something else.
Mhm.
But it's body work, like focusing. It's really, you don't have to know anything, you don't have to think, you don't have to interpret. You just,
Mhm.
yeah, you just sense and express.
So now I'm getting a sense of the connection to focusing. So let me just say it back to you to see if I'm on track.
Okay.
It sounds to me like the different participants that take on represent the different people in the
System.
person's system. I've forgotten what you call the person who's the subject of the.
We call him the issue holder.
Okay, the issue holder, yes.
Yeah.
The question I wanted to ask is it sounds as though when you become a representative in that person's system, even though you don't know the person or anything that they lived through, somehow if you tune into your body, you're actually tuning into that whole environment.
Yeah.
And you can
Exactly.
find your body sort of manifesting within you in some way the process of that person you're representing.
Exactly.
And you
Yes.
end up doing very uncanny things as though you know that person really well. And of course, you don't know
Because
them
you
well.
are this person.
You, as though you are that person. Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's very uncanny. But the connection to focusing I'm making, and I want to check with you, is it's almost like you take the focusing process, you elaborate it a little bit more, and you externalize it. So it's like it's out in the room, represented by all of these different people who somehow are acting out the different parts of you in a
Yeah.
sense. So instead of it being an internal process, it becomes much more visible and lived out with other people.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes. Uh, yes, and actually, this is some. when I work with focusing, a lot of times I do it externally.
Okay.
Not just by people, but also with object or small. It's. I think we'll get to it in
Yeah.
a few minutes. But yes, the externally it allows you to look at the system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not just in here like trying to see what's hiding what, but you can also look at the system,
Yeah.
and the system is important.
Yes.
And I want to say another thing that in my work in home focusing, well, sometimes I do family constellation sessions when we are stuck somewhere and when it feels like there's something more there that we want to explore a little bit deeper or wider. But mainly it's the systemic approach that is in home focusing, because we are systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, meaning that my inside is a system, me and all my parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system, yeah. And I can, let's say you want to write a book, okay? If you just want to write a book, go ahead, write a book, no problem there, right? But sometimes you find yourself asking your focusing partner to focus about your wanting to write a book, because it's not the only thing there, right? There is something else there.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to say that there is you, and there's this part that wants to write a book, and there's this part that doesn't want, or afraid, or delayed. So we have a system, we have a triangle. It's not one thing, right? It's always more than one. If it's always more than one, then we have a system. Then we can look at it as a system.
Yeah.
And a system has, I think this is the one thing that family constellation added to my focusing. A system has order. It's one of its components. Once you don't have one, but more than one, there is order, and it's very simple order. It's who came first, or everyone belongs. It's not like something very complicated, but the order matters. So if we're dealing with the family constellation, what we'll do is we'll go back to our ancestors, find where the order was breached, and do something there, which is mainly acknowledgement. Yeah, we can say something like, I'm your mother, you're my child, and oh yeah, this is it. So also, like focusing, acknowledgement is a huge step. You don't have to analyze anything.
Yeah.
But so when we're internally looking at a system, we're approaching it differently than just focusing with a felt sense. Is that?
So let me say that back to you. It's in this way of focusing, it's not just finding a felt sense and paying attention to it. It's paying attention to the whole system, because typically you find more than one part in there.
Yes, even more than that. I say that when there is pain, there's a conflict.
Okay.
Okay, like the pain that I'm not able to write my book, although I really want to write my book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to be with the conflict. We want to be with the whole system, and we want to let every part of the conflict know that it's accepted, that we accept its a point of view, even if they're contradicting. Okay, so it's the whole system, and all the parts get my full attention and acceptance. Okay, I can give you another example. I think it will be even. Let's say that you're focusing and you're sensing something in your throat. okay, like a stone stuck in your throat.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go in and meet this stone stuck in your throat and say hello to it or acknowledge that it's there. But sometimes nothing moves. So when I get in, I say hello to the stone and I say hello to the throat that has a stone stuck in it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the conflict. Yes, the stone, there is a reason that the stone is there. It wants to be there somehow or whatever. And the throat wants it to go away. So when we acknowledge both parts of the conflict, something shifts. Even before we go deeper to one of them or both of them, just by acknowledging that, yes, you are both mine.
Yeah.
And you are both legitimate and accepted.
Yeah, I can hear a similarity to in a relationship focusing and working with.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds very powerful. So can I asked you about this kind of specific, and now I really have a sense of the family constellation work and how it integrates and actually how similar it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious how you built this into working with intimate relationships like partners, siblings, children.
Maybe you want to talk about relationships a little bit before because the systemic approach is just an approach. It's like the glasses I'm looking through.
Yes.
Okay, when I meet someone, I see it widely. When I meet a couple, I can see the I don't know the husband, the wife, and the space between them that also they are a part of,
Mhm.
and also the family, the children. It's there. I don't have to do anything. It's just there. I just want to acknowledge that. But the main thing is that relationship. In Hebrew, the phase relationship has system in it. It's two words. One of them is system, and one of it is relationship.
Okay.
So we have system when we enter a relationship. It's immediately there, and it's of course more complicated because, well, if I'm a system, me and all my part, and you are you and all my part. When we are in a relationship, well, that's get complicated because they're all our parts, and sometimes we share parts, sometimes we switch parts. It's really interesting. Yeah, things happen when especially when we are close. We live in the same house, we share the same kids or the same family. So we are all the time crossing, touching, triggering each other. So it's always there. So it's a good thing to say, okay, let's just put the system for a minute. Let's just look at it, even before we dive into whatever there is. And sometimes we want to take a step back and look again at the system. What's happening here? So it's not exactly just I'm combining it, but it's already there somehow.
I'm just really taking that in that
Yeah.
what comes to me is that there's also a kind of crossing.
Yes, there's a kind of crossing.
Yeah, because I'm imagining that this one person's system and another person's system don't just in a very complex way begin to interact as they are. They also imply change in each other.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. That's why a parent can come to a workshop or to a class or have a present and something happen at home with the children.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. It's like a dance. When one party change the movement, the whole dance changes.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course, yes, but also I think it's most powerful when both of us are doing it. That's why I like working with couples because we're both doing it. We're actually practicing
Mhm.
how to be with each other, how to remain authentic and relevant and legitimate, and at the same time accept that in the other person. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds like very deep and courageous work.
Yes, people are really courageous. Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's also pleasant, you know. It's like they have a chance. Really, home focusing is really very, very practical. It's a holistic approach. It has many, even spiritual components, but it's very practical. So when a couple starts to learn how to talk to each other, how to listen to each other, how to acknowledge, well, it feels good,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah,
feels good.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the sort of some of the other aspects of it, like you mentioned, the spiritual aspect of it.
Wow. I think that if we live by it,
Mm-hmm.
by this really radical acceptance, really radical inclusion, and when we take it home, we live by it,
Mm-hmm.
then it can, it has to do with everything. It has to do, well, with politics, it has to do with, it has to do with anything, with everything.
Yeah.
So it's really wide, and it's really an attitude. I really see focusing not as I don't know, but as something that is either the ground to everything or the sky to everything, or the, yeah.
You keep mentioning the attitude. I'm curious about that. It sounds like you have discovered that this very accepting and inclusive attitude is key to the whole process.
Yes, it is key to the whole process for me.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's very hard to define what is focusing,
Hmm.
isn't it? I think every focuser struggles with this definition. And the definition I found is that focusing is paying attention inside to what's all that there is there and expressing it in an allowing environment. And we know, attending in, we know not only from focusing, but from other methods and techniques, and expressing. Yeah, well, expressing is also pretty natural to us, although we usually express in words and we can express in other ways. But the main thing is the allowing environment. This is what Anne and Barbara are talking about in self in presence regarding our inner system, right? I want to be open. I want to be curious. I want to be have no expectations, no knowledge when I turn inside.
Mhm.
Also, we do it in partnership, right? I'm an allowing environment to everything that my partner brings. This is my job. This is what I do. But can I be an allowing environment for my children, for my life partner, for people who think differently than I and trigger me by their opinions?
Mhm.
Uh, all kinds of situations where it's not so easy to be open and curious. It's not so easy to come not knowing to a child I'm raising for 20 years. I know everything about them. So, but I still want to be not knowing and curious when I talk to them, when I approach
Yeah.
my children. It's the children is really so easy to understand how difficult it is because we own them. They're mine. They're my children. No, they're not. There are people really very interesting and unique, and it's wonderful. People always complaining about teenagers. I love this age. It's amazing with my own children. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's so interesting. They're such interesting people, so different than me, and also not different. So this allowing environment is how I want to live. It's not just what I want to do or what I want to be for my clients or for my children. It's the way I want to live.
Yes.
So
And
this is
as I listen to you, because of the different situations you're describing, I'm thinking this is something that you bring. You bring this attitude. You also bring, you're not sort of emphasizing it now, but you also bring a knowledge of the importance of the body. Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
and
but
also a slightly different maybe meaning of body. It's a bit when I talk about the body, it's also a bit wider.
yes.
I mean, a lot of times we say, well, you're thinking too much. Don't think. So go to your body.
Mhm.
But well, our head is connected to the
Yes.
body. So I refer to the thoughts or voices or whatever as parts.
Yeah.
Okay, they're also so there's something in me saying this and that, and it's important because I really can't work with the body as itself when I'm in relationship when I'm
Yes.
not with focusers. It's something else.
Well, that's what I'm curious about because the person you're relating to may know absolutely nothing about focusing and may not be anywhere near the kind of attitude that you're emphasizing. So
Yeah.
how do you navigate that? People that may even have a kind of a antagonism towards the openness and the sort of welcoming and
I think no one will have. Uh, I think everybody feels good when you're open and accepting. And
well, the exception that I would immediately think of
okay,
that might be an exception is if you are genuinely, and I don't mean that you're kind of sneakily trying to get your own way by employing an attitude that you think is going to be more clever than what the other person is expressing. But if you're genuinely open, like you're describing, that the other person can at times not know how to respond to that and be a little bit defensive, or you're just trying to use that focusing stuff on me, or you're just trying to psychologize me. Things that sometimes come out if people feel, the
like
language.
like like if you're talking like that with a friend, they
Yeah.
will. Are you now being a therapist or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that?
that kind of thing. Just because there's something in the approach and maybe even some of the language that they can hear there's a difference.
Well, you know what? I think what the secret is. I think the secret is, and it's the secret of all home focusing, of how to be with others. It's first being with yourself.
Yeah.
For example, I can't mirror. Okay, I use mirroring in my relationship with other people, with my children, with my partner, with my, and also I teach to mirror, and a lot of, but my child will never let me mirror him. He will say that I'm mimicking. No, it won't work.
Yeah.
And then I say, if you are fully connected inside, really present, meaning I am in touch with all my parts that are influenced or triggered or activated by the other person, then they won't feel it. And they don't feel it. It sounds natural. It
Okay.
sounds, yeah, it's a conversation. This is how I talk right now. Okay. You say something, I say it back
Mhm.
naturally. It doesn't, what are you doing? No, it doesn't sound like that because I'm also here. I'm not just doing something
Yeah.
outside.
So let me say that back to you. I think that's such a good point that if it sounds unnatural to the other person, it probably is that you're not completely in touch with what's going on inside of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
That's really good. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yes. And you being in touch with yourself is crucial
Hmm.
because otherwise things just
Yeah.
pop up
Yeah.
from our mouth without us really. It's really. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Okay. Speaking of teenagers, it's a I like it. Um, an example of how it really regards everything we talked till now.
Mhm.
How our parts might switch or with others. So my daughter is 17. She has her finals now. Okay, so let's say I know she has an exam tomorrow, and I get into her room and I see her in TikTok. That's what teenagers do. And well, I can, of course, naturally, I would say, why aren't you studying? You have an exam tomorrow, right? This is, well, I have to, well, and also this is very important because parents a lot of time feel that they have to do something. Yeah, to, it's not push like this, but it's
Mhm.
push, educate. Yeah. But if I pause for a moment, and first I acknowledge my issues with exams and studying and not studying,
Mhm.
and second I acknowledge my worry for her.
Mhm.
Okay, that if she won't study, she won't have good grades, she won't be successful, she has bad life, she will be, I don't know. It's really very fast. It's going very fast, and it's always there.
Yeah.
I won't say that. I won't say why aren't you studying? First of all, because why is criticism.
Mhm.
The mere question why. We don't use why anymore. No, we don't. But second, because she's a smart kid. And she also have two parts. A part that wants to study and succeed and be whatever she wants to be, and a part that wants TikTok.
Mhm.
And when I take the part that says you have to study, I leave her
Yes.
with the other side of the conflict. And the conflict is like that they are always keeping in some balance. Okay. So she becomes the TikTok.
Yeah.
I am now the part that says you have to study. She is the part that TikTok. So now first of all, she's not connected to her wish to study. And second, I just harmed our relationship because I criticized her.
Mhm.
So I can just knock on the door and say, hi, how are you? It's much better. If I'm connected to my worried parts
Yes.
and to my own parts, I'm not criticizing her. I'm really curious what is going on right now because I know that you are studying.
Yes.
Okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you know there's a part of her that also cares about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want this part to lead her.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to take over that part and leave her
Exactly.
with the resistance or
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes.
Um, you've mentioned the difficulty of criticism a few times, and I know it's something that you give quite a bit of emphasis to. I'm wondering if you could say something about criticism and where it comes from, sort of the role of criticism, why it's so, common.
Okay. Well, I can talk about criticism the whole day.
Okay.
It's really my passion.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. I think if or when I'll write a book,
Mhm.
it might be called Criticism I Love. Really, I have. Um, I think we have to say two things about criticism to begin with. First of all, that it's really common, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
From the grade system in schools and all the way to wars,
Hmm.
like who's good, who's bad, who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah.
I say that we live in a paradigm of criticism. This is, we're in it. We almost, we can sense it so sometimes because it's always there.
Yeah.
So this is one thing that is really important to acknowledge. Like when I'm saying that why is criticism, people say, "What? We use it all the time." No, I'm curious. I really want to know why she's not studying right now. Well, no. Um, the other thing is that criticism is connected to trauma. Criticism, and I've learned that from my work actually.
Hmm.
Criticism is made from the same ingredients as trauma. Uh, it's fear or worry or and helplessness or powerlessness. When a part in us is worried about something and can't do anything about that, it criticizes. That's the way to for it to act in the world. It just will,
Hmm.
yeah. And this is also what trauma is, right? Because if we can fight or flight, the trauma doesn't remain in our bodies. So we had a difficult situation, but we came through. So, and actually, when we think about criticism, that means that someone or some part says about me or about a part of me that this part should die, that it's wrong, that it can't stay as long as it needs, as we say in focusing. So for that part, from that part's point of view, this is the death threat.
Hmm.
It's like a tiger too close to a deer.
Yeah.
So our body is activated from criticism the way it's activated from a tiger.
Hmm.
And it's especially present in close relationships. I mean, it's everywhere, but in close relationships, it's really it's amazing. It's there even when it's not there. For instance, if my partner comes home after work and says, "I'm hungry," I might, and it happens, not to me because he's the one cooking, but it happens. I might feel that he's criticizing me. He's asking, "Is there any food? What have you been doing the whole day?" And in a split of a second, I might pick up a fight or feel shame or respond like it, and it's fast as we respond to a life threat.
Hmm.
So we want to acknowledge that. We want to work with that. Home focusing is a trauma sensitive approach because it's dealing with close relationship, because a lot of our trauma is in close relationship,
Hmm.
and because there's a lot of criticism there.
Can I just ask about that? That's a really interesting observation. That I think using your words, the system of close relationships so often is a critical system,
Yes.
a system of criticism. I'm curious, why do you think that is? When you would think, in a close relationship, it would be this, the whole point of it is to have this safe harbor where you can really be yourself, really connect to someone, really mutual support and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, no, it should be, yeah, and we're working on it, really. But uh, two things come to mind when you ask that.
Yeah.
First of all, well, transgenerational transfer. Um, I work with all kinds of ages, from, I don't know, people in their 70s and 80s to children, and I think our parents, I'm talking about us now, uh, uh, were critical. Their parents were even more critical because it has something to do with survival.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the more you go back, people were in survivor mode.
Yeah. Interesting.
So so we are the fortunate ones because we can make a change, we can make a difference. We don't have to carry on the critical system. We can do something else. But I think it was just natural when you were 17 and sorry, I'm talking about you, but and your father came into your room. There was no TikTok, but he would say, "Go study, because otherwise you will be nothing,
Mhm.
because you have to survive." And his father probably, I don't know, maybe even hit him in order to make him study. So it's like something we got from back then, and criticism as trauma work like a vortex. The movement, it's very fast and it's sucking everything in. It's very hard to stop it.
Mhm.
So if we don't pay attention, we're in it. People are
Yeah.
transferring the criticism to their children all the time. It's That's the way we do it. We punish or we,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I'm thinking that the criticism is, if I understand what you're saying, the criticism is um, a response to trauma, and the criticism also generates trauma.
Yeah.
And part of the trauma it generates is this shame that is so unbearable that it needs to be somehow projected onto the other.
Yes, it can be shame, it can be guilt, it's all kinds of criticism, but it's mainly, yeah, it's like it's thick.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so it's everywhere. In
Mm-hmm.
order to not live in the paradigm of criticism, you really have to acknowledge that and do something actively.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you sucked in.
Mm-hmm. But it's also interesting what you've said is almost like there's an evolutionary perspective here that we live in a time of human development where we're on the edge of being able to choose differently.
Yes, yes. We're on the edge. I think we're already there. But still, if you look at many approaches, criticism is criticized.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the movement of the vortex.
Yeah.
Yes, you're criticizing me, I'll criticize you, or someone else will criticize you. So we have to get rid. I think when I studied focusing, my teacher told me that Gendlin said to the critic,
Yeah.
"Yeah,"
Yeah.
and I said, "What? No way! It's also a part of me. How can I be with the criticism and not
Hmm.
excluding it from the system,
Hmm.
but making a change by accepting it?"
So I'm curious how you do that. Like, have you developed ways of working with the critic?
Yes, first of all, I do follow Anne and Barbara. They have a way of working with the critic, so it's really working. What I expanded it a little bit to working with criticism in relationships.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Whoa. First of all, this is a point where the body gets in because I always suggest to ground yourself
Mhm.
and to use certain resources that helps you that we use when we do trauma work, actually trauma body work. It is trauma body work, so we use it when we understand. Whenever a couple comes, I explain about criticism
Mhm.
and trauma, and they all say, how did you know that this was our problem? Well, because this is the problem. Always there are other things, of course, but it is a main issue. So first of all, body work, and then language. We really want to pay attention to the communication, how we talk to each other.
Mhm.
And yeah, well, all kinds of things. Yeah, it's really a huge topic.
Yeah, that gives me a sense of kind of where it goes.
Yeah.
Um, I want to go back to something I sort of alluded to but didn't quite ask. My sense, rightly or wrongly, is that even in the focusing world, even people like myself who've been focusing for decades, um, we often don't bring it into our most personal relationships.
Yeah. Why is that?
Yes, yeah. Don't ask why.
Good.
Um,
Yes.
that is the question, though, is what makes it, let me rephrase it slightly. What makes it so difficult that even experienced focusers often can't find a way of integrating focusing into their, or maybe it's not right to say integrating focusing because we can't make somebody else become a focuser.
Exactly.
But it's, as you say, kind of bring that attitude that kind of at least provides a less critical environment.
Well, because it's really difficult.
Yeah.
It is really difficult.
Yeah.
We are really triggered, activated, responsive to the other person when it's close relationship.
Hmm.
It's really difficult to come open and curious.
Yes.
Uh, so there's no wonder it's not common.
Hmm.
It's not an easy thing to do,
No.
um, but it's very rewarding when you succeed. And I think yes, I think, and for me it's a bit. Well, relationship is the most important thing in the world. Really, it's a human need. It was so. Of course, I'll take focusing into my relationship.
Hmm.
Where else?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, for me personally, I said I'm an only child, and I have a very small family. I had a very small family because my mother disconnected us from grandparents and uncles and aunts, and my father was just disconnected. So I didn't have any sense of family.
Hmm.
So this is my goal in my personal life and in my professional life to explore the how can relationship be good. How can relationship thrive and heal.
Hmm.
So and it's possible.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I'm just noticing that It's like something in your own personal life experience has really sensitized you to this.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and you mentioned previously, and I'd like to just maybe touch on this. I know we don't have too much more time, but you mentioned about siblings.
Yes.
Curious, because siblings often are not given that much attention.
Oh, I love siblings.
Yeah.
uh, First of all, I want to tell you something about siblings that I haven't even written before. And for me, focusing is like siblinghood. When we talk about therapy, I told you I'm not a therapist, right? When we talk about therapy, a lot of time we compare the relationship between a therapist and a client to a parent and a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are, well, um, and I'm not a therapist. When I am with my partner, we are like siblings, meaning we're at eye level.
Hmm.
Yeah, there is no hierarchy.
Hmm.
Um, in family constellation, siblings stand side by side. Yeah, like a parent will stand behind a child, but sibling stands beside the one another,
Hmm.
and they support each other in a narrow part of their body. Yes, so all the other three parts are free to go wherever, and in focusing, this is how I want to be, even with my clients. So with my clients, I'm like an older sister. I've been there
Hmm.
some time ago, but I'm not an authority. I don't know anything about you. I don't say anything that you should do or not do. I don't analyze you. I'm just with you.
Hmm.
So yes, and I love focusing. So so this is I really like this framing, and also couples, also life partners are like sibling. About that, I did write. It's in my blog. Uh, Couples also stand side by side. We don't want anyone to be the mother or the father of their life partner.
Yeah.
We want a lot of freedom, but still a support. We want to go to our future together, towards our life, our children, in partnership.
Yeah.
So these three, this focusing partnership and the siblings and life partnership are for me the same structure.
That's interesting. And I'm wondering, would you also add in the focuser's relationship to their own parts?
The focusing relationships to their own part, the self-present place for the, it's like a parent for me.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
quite the same as sibling, is it?
No, no. This is like a parent.
Yeah.
I want to be with all my parts
Mhm.
as I want to be with all my children.
Yes, exactly. So the parts are sibling to each other.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, because as the focuser, you're needing to hold this radical acceptance, this
yes,
inclusivity, and a sibling is too self-interested to do that.
yes, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. As
Yep.
la- as a child is it's okay that the child will think of anyone but themselves at
Yeah.
some point. But yeah, it's not their job to look at the wider picture. It's the parents' job to look at the wider picture.
In fact, it's problematic if a child is given that responsibility.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
problematic later on. The grandchildren will have to do family constellation to
Yes.
get the order back. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So I'm just aware of the time. I found this absolutely fascinating.
Thank you.
And I can get a sense that in a lot of the different areas that we've opened up, there's a lot more detail there.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering at this point, is there anything else that you would like to touch on or are passionate about?
Uh, well, I like to talk about the workshop in September.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So um, I'm coming to the Netherlands for a home focusing workshop. It will be the third time that I'm giving a workshop for focusers.
Mhm.
And I rarely teach online because I'm teaching focusing and I'm teaching relationships and I'm teaching systems.
Mhm.
And when you experience home focusing, you want to experience the relationships, yeah, like a full person, three-dimensional person to interact with,
Yeah.
and you want to feel the system, which is the group. So it's really important for me to work live. So I'm coming to the Netherlands. I'll be happy to come other places too. It will be good for me to live here, leave this place for some time every now and then. And the topic is wanting, which is also a fascinating topic in focusing in general because wanting is the has the life forward energy. It's what moves us forward. Also, it's very complicated in relationships because it's very strong and it really brings up very strong fears, other wantings, yeah, all kinds of things. So we really want, in order for our life to move forward, we really want to see how we can cope with all of this, how we can express our wanting in close relationship. Even that is really difficult, right? Should I say? Should I ask? Oh, it's so frightening to ask everything. So yes, so this is
Yeah,
yes,
that's fascinating. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic workshop, and it immediately makes me think of how many relationships come to an end with that phrase, I guess we just wanted different things.
yes, yes, yes,
As though that's just it then. That's the conclusion. It's we're incompatible.
yes. I want to say another thing. I
Okay,
don't know how we do it.
sure.
Um, well, Gendlin talks about interaction, and I'm talking about relationship.
Yeah.
And relationship is actually an ongoing interaction. It's a living process, if you like. It's
Yes.
something. It's an interaction that's in a system, that is a system. So for me, it's really the next step to look at relationships. Yeah, and it's mostly what we focus about, right? I remember you when you were talking to Anne and Barbara, you said that most tangles involve someone else, and most tangles involves someone else who is close to us because these are the most important people. So yes, so let's do it. Let's not keep focusing inside, but also bring the focus and way to
Mhm.
the actual outside, to real life, not just to, okay, yes, I can say, no, just how to be with each other.
Yes, I really appreciate that and resonate. Yeah, that it's a way of living, it's a way of
It's
being. It's not something
exactly,
you just do in 30 minutes with a partner.
exactly. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. It's a way of being with, which
Yes,
is focusing. Yes.
exactly. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one last thing? Um, I'm just aware that where you live, it's not the easiest place to live in the world at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm thinking the way you're talking about systems, we've been talking about families, but I'm wondering, do you ever think even in larger scale than that? And
Yes.
how does it change your way of kind of maybe understanding sort of conflicts and, as you were saying earlier, criticisms, right and wrong sort of positions in
Yeah.
that larger scale?
Um, yes. So it does. Uh, um, I can say maybe that first of all, I think the whole thing with trauma and criticism, and perhaps even the whole motivation um, to heal relationships, probably comes from the fact that I was born and raised and I live in Israel.
Okay.
This is a trauma-struck region.
Yeah.
Uh, the land is yeah is bloody, and uh, almost all of our ancestors suffered from other kinds of traumas. So it's really, really very deep here, and I can sense it. I can sense it in the air, in how people behave, how they drive, how they talk. And yes, it has a lot to do with trauma in general, and of course, the past year and a half or so, it's even worse. And I have a post in my blog about collective trauma and criticism, and I really think it's fascinating to see how, when there is a trauma in the field, people are getting divided,
Mhm.
hating each other, willing to kill each other even. People at the same, even from the same, I don't know, nationality or religion, and of course people who are in different sides of the border, and it affects the whole world. The whole world is watching and identifying with one side. So yes, it explains phenomena in a very large scale.
Mhm.
And personally, it's really hard to be here. A lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of fear.
Mhm.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important for the rest of us to hear um, what it's like to be a person living there.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for asking.
Hmm. Okay, well, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
Yeah,
Eventually,
yes.
I was really worried. I was really anxious.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's really, really thought-provoking. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll include the information about the workshop in the Netherlands so that people can find you and also your website, because I think you're doing very interesting work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye, Greg. Thank you.
Okay.